To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome to the Talk About the Magic podcast, where you'll find inspiration and encouragement tied together with the magic of Disney. Now, here's your host, Joseph Ballesteros.
What is going on, Magic Cheers? Welcome to another edition of Talk About the Magic. This is episode 190, give or take. I'm pretty sure it's either more or less, but 190 since I started counting seriously, I guess I should say. I'm really excited that you've joined me today. I'm pumped for today's show. This is kind of the last, this is the last show of 2017 and the last show of the series that we had going here over the past two episodes have been kind of leading toward this one. And this is all in hopes of encouraging you and inspiring you and getting you motivated to get up and start moving toward your goal. There's a lot of noise out there, and it's not in a negative way do I say noise. I just mean like there's a lot of encouragement and inspiration, and I appreciate all of the stuff that I personally listen to and that friends of mine that I know that do this kind of things. But maybe this is bad on my part, but they're very, very focused on making it. I mean, most of the time when you're listening to an inspirational style podcast, a lot of it is focused toward like entrepreneurship, getting able to quit your job, maybe eBay selling, Etsy selling, stuff like that. Amazon, I know right now is huge, Amazon selling and eBay selling. But for me, with the podcast, I wasn't sure how, what I wanted to do and everything. And it kind of has just self-molded itself to just being an inspiration and an encouraging podcast to get you motivated to accomplish any goal that you have. I don't know everything about Amazon. I don't know everything about eBay. I don't know everything about marketing. I don't know everything about, podcasting. I mean, I know a lot of this stuff. I don't know everything, right? And so, but what I do know and what I do love and what I am passionate about is getting you fired up to go get more information, to go get, what it is you need to get to that next level. Because, this is all focused, of course, with Walt Disney and everything. And when we look at what he did and how he achieved what he achieved, he didn't do it alone. He always had someone who was better at what he was trying to achieve, and he would let them do that. I mean, Ub Iwerks, a lot of people aren't familiar with him, but the guy pretty much is responsible for giving Disney the look that we have known to enjoy now. He helped craft and mold and as well as other characters. So it's not, what I mean? It wasn't like Disney was by himself doing everything. He would get other people who knew a little more, but who were focused with his vision, his idea. And that's what I want the show to be. And that's what it's become, I should say. Not that, because that's not what I set it out to be originally, but it's kind of become that, which is I want to hopefully motivate you and encourage you to whatever it is you want to do. Lose weight, get a better job. Maybe it is branching out into entrepreneurship, getting into business, real estate, whatever it is. But I want to encourage you to take that first step to learn more, to get educated, to find people who can really, really guide you and just hopefully keep giving you that motivation to not give up. Because I know for a lot of us, and myself included, when we get this idea, this goal, this vision in our head, and we start chasing after it, unfortunately, from anything from distractions to things that are out of our control, hiccups and setbacks that come our way, it can completely deflate our balloon, our hot air balloon, our vision, our parachute. It can completely take it out from underneath us, where we're just the ground from underneath us, where we're just completely feel like we're free falling, we're freaking out because nothing's happening, nothing's working, and it just seems like this show has kind of become the show that hopefully when you listen to, when you're in that position, maybe it's going to encourage you and kind of give you that extra parachute to say, hold on, keep going, it's not over yet, you can continue, you can keep pursuing that dream, it's going to happen, keep believing and keep working toward it. So I've been honored to be able to have the guests that I've had on the show, and like I said, I'm still bringing guests on. I didn't forget. And I enjoy bringing guests on because you get to hear their story. I know I like to hear myself talk, but maybe you don't like to hear me talk as much. So, that's why I like to bring guests on, because they, when they share their success story, that's great. But I'm more interested in the struggle, on the journey that took them to where they're at, successfully now. Because I feel like a lot of us who are trying to reach toward that vision, we haven't reached our goal yet, so we can't relate to the success yet. but we can relate to the struggle that they felt because that's where we're at. That's what that's the point we're at. We're on the point where, hey, I'm running out of money and nothing seems to be working. What do I do? So when we hear a successful person come in and say, look, when I was trying to do this, there was a point when I was running out of money. I didn't know what to do. Boom. That's when your ears perk up because that's for you. You know what I mean? So I've been honored to have the guests that I've had on, and I've just enjoyed this, doing the podcast. I say it over and over. It's a highlight, it's a different kind of highlight for me. Of course, I love my kids, my wife, my family, but no matter what's going on in my world, when I sit down here and I'm doing this podcast show, it is the most exciting and rewarding and fulfilling and just amazing feeling that I get because I just love being able to share. And I'm more excited that you guys are willing to listen. You know what I mean? That you're there and you've downloaded the podcast and you've reached out to me in Twitter and in Instagram and an email letting me know, hey, I heard this episode. This really touched me over here. I'm pumped for that. So couple I have some secrets coming up in the new year, but one of the main things with the new year again is, like I said, we're going to be kind of bringing guests on, not as frequently, because I want to keep with this format, which is just kind of me and you and me being like that little coach, being the Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder saying, keep going, let your God just be your guide, keep going. But I still want to bring guests on, and so hopefully the guests that I bring are going to be able to offer even more value to you. And I have some stuff that I'm working on that I'm not going to share yet, but I'm excited for it. But in my own world, just to give you, if you're new here or even if you're not and you just haven't been following of what's going on, basically, I have done quite a lot of different things. I do Amazon selling, I do eBay selling. I have the Etsy store, which I was doing shirts and stuff, but I'm going to be focusing a little bit differently on the Etsy store. I'm going to be doing canvas quotes, and so I plan to be doing some inspirational some inspirational quotes, some Bible verses. So I really hope you guys will be able to check that out. That is a part of me that I really love to do. It's very relaxing, very surprising that it's relaxing because it's a very hot machine that I use, but it's pretty relaxing, and I pop on some Disney tunes in the background, and I just do that. So if you're interested in following along that journey, be sure to check out my Etsy store and Instagram as well, because I do post on there. So that's kind of my personal thing that I'm doing, on the side besides the podcast. But today's show, let's get into today's show. Today's show is called Drowning Out the Noise. The first episode, we talked about appreciating the setbacks. The second episode was talking about keep moving forward, appreciating the setbacks, which is look at the failures that you've come up with, look at the mountains that have just out of the blue sprung up in your face, and understand what you can learn from them, and don't be bitter toward it. It's because you get bitter and all of a sudden you become a negative state of mind, and anything that comes up in the future, you immediately would be turning to negativity, and that's going to take you out of the game. So you want to, I'm not saying to be like, yes, my car got stolen. Yeah, woo. I'm not saying necessarily do that. What I'm saying is you see what the situation is. You appreciate the fact that, I'm not the only person in the world that, this is happening to, that is struggling with a situation like this. I know I can get help. I know there's people who understand what I'm going through and maybe seek that avenue, or, whatever. If it's a smaller situation kind of deal, you could say, this hurts. It is not fun right now, but I know that I'm going to get back, get through this because I faced difficult times in the past and I got through it. I'm going to get through this as well. And then moving forward is important because when that negativity or when that setback happens, it's easy to kind of get in the slump and say, why try, right? Why even continue? Why even go at it? Look, I tried doing this and this and this, and these setbacks keep happening, and it's just, why even try? So the importance of the previous episode of moving forward is getting in the mindset of, I don't care what's in front of me. I don't care what's happening. I don't care what this setback, this mountain that I'm facing looks like in front of me. I'm going to push forward. I don't care how many times I fall. I don't care how many times, I have to get new shoes. I have to get new climbing gear. I don't care how many times, I might need a little bit of rescue. I don't care. I'm going to keep climbing this mountain to conquer it. I'm going to keep moving forward. So drowning out the noise is kind of a combo of everything, right? Of those two things. Because with drowning out the noise means, and it can mean different things, depending on where you're at in your own journey to accomplish your goals. But When I say drowning out the noise, I mean the people on the outside, the critics on the outside, the people who look at what you're trying to do and just for some reason, it fathoms me, because I shouldn't say that, because I used to be that kind of person. And I never really clicked to, and I still struggle sometimes saying that. So yeah, I definitely shouldn't say that, because there's still sometimes when I'm kind of immediate negative, response rather than being something of positivity. But, there's just something about the people when you tell them an idea or something that you're excited, the immediate thing they do is they look to see negativity. And here's the difference, because if you tell, let's say I tell my wife, I want to, start cutting grass and I want to do a business cutting grass. Now, her immediate response probably would be a negative one in the sense of this. She will say, I understand what you're saying, but you've told me repeatedly over the years of marriage that you hate cutting grass. The lawnmower has been sitting idle for many, many months. And when you tried doing it, you said it was broken. You put it back. And since then, you've been paying someone to cut the grass because you hate cutting the grass so much. Her negativity isn't without its, proper, place. It is, she's referencing something that is a fact. She's trying to give me a warning. She's trying to look out for my better interest, saying, maybe you should search your feelings a little more. Make sure this is something you really want. Now, vice versa. I love cutting grass. I love lawnmowers. I love cutting the grass for my neighbors for free, my parents for free. It doesn't matter. Any grass I will cut because I just love cutting grass. I've never had a passion as much as I've had for cutting grass. And I go to my wife and I say, I think I want to start a lawnmower business. I love cutting grass. Why? Why would you do that? Do you know how many people already do that for a living? Do you know how many people, there's businesses with huge U-Hauls and trailers that do this for a living? You're not going to make no money from it. Why even try to do that? That's stupid. Now, forgive me, wife, because I put you in an ugly light there. But you see the difference, right? You see the difference of one being truly concerned, one being truly saying, hey, make sure this is something you're interested in doing, and the other immediately saying, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you have already planned out. I don't care what kind of capital or whatever, education you have on the situation. I'm telling you it's a stupid idea. I'm telling you it's never going to work. I'm telling you it is a waste of your time. You see the difference? That's the noise you want to drown out. Now, drowning out doesn't mean to respond negatively back. I'm not saying to say to that person, you know what? I don't care what you say. You know nothing about me. You're stupid. I'm not saying that. I'm saying drowning out, which is very hard to do because you obviously want to get defensive. You obviously want to immediately kind of snap back. But the danger with doing that is you will find that if you do that, again, it will just bring you down like a ton of bricks. It'll bring you in that negative mindset because you'll be thinking negatively about them. And before you know it, your confidence is a little shaken, a little shattered. And that little seed of doubt jumps in because you know what? Out of the blue, you're going to be driving. Again, using the yard cutting analogy, you're going to be driving and next to you is going to be a massive trailer with lawnmower equipment and everything. And it's going to say, Freddy's yard cut service. And you're going to just be immediately thinking about what they said about how it's stupid. And there's already people making, and guess what? That seed of doubt took place and it's going to start to grow. So you don't want to respond negatively to what they're saying. You want to drown them out. You want to say, yeah. Even agreeing with them, if it'll get them to shut up, you know what I mean? If it'll get them to leave you alone, yeah, maybe you're right. And then you keep it to yourself. You don't share this idea and this vision to that person. And it's hard because sometimes that person is a loved one. Sometimes that person is as closest as a person can be to you. You've grown up with them. They're your best friend. They're your brother, your sister, your parents. They're your spouse. It can be hard to keep that from them. But it's a lot harder for somebody to react negatively when they see positive coming out immediately. So what I mean by this is this. Again, yard cutting. You know what? It's guilty conscience. Yard cutting analogy. Because I really don't like cutting the grass. Okay. Here's the thing. You tell them, I want to cut the grass. Stupid idea. I want to do business. Stupid idea. That's dumb. Never going to work, right? Or because they're kind of like that. You know already they're negative. You know when a person is like that. You keep it to yourself and you start saying, you know what? all of these people's grass that I've been cutting, I'm going to start asking them if it would be okay if I charged them $10, $15 because I want to start my yard business. Now look at the difference. You didn't go to that one important person in your life who may be negative and tell them this idea. Instead, you went to these other people who are already experiencing a wonderful relationship with you because of the thing that you're giving them, this work of cutting the grass. They already value you because you've been cutting their grass and you've been doing a great job. They call you every time they need the grass cut. They trust you, and you say, "Excuse me, I want to start my own yard business. Do you think you don't have to do this? I'm just asking." Maybe once a month or something, if you have anything that you feel maybe that you would donate to help me get to that level, whether it's money, whether it's, a lawnmower, whatever it is, of course, this is all analogy. I'm not saying this is what you would do to that extent of being very, explicit in what you're wanting, but you would say, is there anything you can do? Just please think about me because I'm wanting to open a business. Now, these people who already are in a relationship with you in this way, who have a lot of positive thoughts and ideas about you because of the hard work you've put in, all of a sudden they say, you know what? We would normally pay a guy to cut our grass $40, $45. This person's been doing it for free for a month, 2 months. You know what? Let's just give him $20. Another person says, you know what? We'll just give him what we would normally give the yard guy, $40. You know what? Another person says, you know what? This person's been doing it for free so generously, and I want to help him because he's done an amazing job. And I love the fact that every time I need him, he's there. I can count on him or her. And guess what? They give you a brand new lawnmower that's worth $600. Now, here's the difference. You have all this stuff. You go to the city, you get your LLC or whatever it is you need, your license and everything. You get your business license, you get your name, you get cards or whatever. Now you go to your loved one and you say, hey, I'm very passionate about cutting grass. And for the past 2-3 months, I've been cutting grass for people and they've been being nice enough to donate to me. So I went out and I got all this stuff. I have a business registered. And on top of that, I have the next 4 months booked. I think I want to do this as a business. Unless they're really like a whole different kind of, negative person. When you go to them and you show them and you say, look, this is what I'm, monthly going to be getting. This is what I want to do. I think I want to quit my job and I want to focus on this. It'll be so much easier for them to say yes and agree with what you're doing because the results are there. Now, the problem with us is we want affirmation. We want to feel like what we're doing is right. We want to feel security. And that's why immediately when we get an idea, sometimes we get excited about it. We start telling people and we start telling, anyone that we can because we want somebody else to say, yeah, that's a great idea. Go for it. All right. Unfortunately, sometimes you tell that wrong person who says, that's stupid. You should never do that. You're going to fail at everything you try to do. And you just get beaten up. And so that's why it's, it's not to say not to tell your ideas, but that's why it's important to be very concerned, very, very strategic on who you're telling and how you're telling them, because you know that some people are going to react. Now, in that, situation, when somebody does react negative to what you're sharing, and somebody does react negative to what you're doing, it's important to drown them out because, and I know there's so many quotes out there like, people who hate are bitter themselves and that's why they hate. And I'm not getting into all that because, like I said, we don't know their story. We don't know. I mean, they might have had a terrible situation doing something that they were trying to achieve, and that's why they just hate everything. When somebody tries to follow their own dream, they're more like, stop trying because it happened to me and it was a worse experience, Like, we don't know their story. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, when you get to this point to start being strategic and telling people, it's important to drown out the noise of the people who are being negative, because what they don't understand is that, granted, statistically maybe, it's proven that 99% of whatever it is you're trying to do, run a business, lose weight, have a successful marriage, do better at your job. Like, they might be able to bring out a study that says 99% of people who try to do this fail. But what they don't understand, and I think anybody who's negative in that way really can never understand unless they truly change their mindset, is that while that is 99% probable, according to statistics or any study you want to bring out on paper, it's not 100%. And what's interesting to me is I wonder if it's 99% because 99% people gave up. And the reason why it's not 100% is because the people who didn't give up made it and did it. Meaning, if more people stopped giving up and started, continuing toward their goal, that percentage would grow and grow. So looking at Walt Disney and everything that he did, everything that he struggled and went through, I mean, there was critics everywhere. There was critics, even the guy has been dead for years and people still are criticizing him for what he did. Oh, he was, misogynist. He didn't let women, even though there was countless times where we see him talking, pro women and everything like that. But I don't want to get into that. But there's people who still hate on him. And again, nobody says he's perfect. I don't think, I'm not saying raise him up higher. I'm not saying he's a god or anything like that. He was a total human and he totally had screw ups and mess ups just like we all do. But there's a difference. What Walt did, just like a lot of people are successful, he didn't give up. He didn't let people who criticized his ideas and his things give him a reason to stop. Now, did Walt fail? Yes, he failed a lot. Now, did Walt go through tough times? Yes, he did a lot. Did Walt have literal, genuine, for real reasons to quit doing what he was doing at times? Yes, 100% so. But did he? No, he didn't. He did not quit. And what happened when he didn't quit? Well, what we see based on what, literal, looking at his past, what we literally see is his taking a one little step of faith, opened up one door. That door opened up another door. That door opened up a little bigger door. That bigger door opened up a bigger door. That door opened up a bigger door. That bigger door opened up even a bigger door. And that bigger door opened up Disneyland. You see what I'm saying? It just takes that one little step. And it's no guarantee. Disneyland wasn't built in a day. He didn't have it and the next day it started building. It took years of planning, years of building. Time and frustrations and anger points where things were not going his way. I mean, I was reading, again about Disneyland. And it's funny because on the opening day, they still didn't have, the opening day, they still didn't have all the shrubs and everything they're supposed to. So they put flags up on the weeds to make them look nicer. They were just weeds though. And so you see, like, to the point of even the day which you would think is successful, there were still tons of hiccups, tons of setbacks happening, but he kept going for it. And, if you're listening to this, there's a high probability that you're a fan of Disney. And so you can understand where I'm coming from when I say how important it is to be like Walt in that way. I don't know what your personal family is like. I don't know what your friends are like. I don't know if there's anybody in your life that you can look at who has taken those kinds of steps of faith. I do. I have a father who came from another country, didn't know a speck of English. He came because he felt like God was calling him here to the United States to be a preacher. And even that in itself is just like crazy because it's like, why don't you just be a preacher where you're at? Why are you going to come to a whole different country? But he left. He had no family here in America. He came here. He tells a story of how he was so hungry. He went to, I think it was Church's or KFC. They're nice restaurants, so I'm not talking bad about them. But he went to one of those and he was asking for chicken. He didn't know English though, so he was saying kitchen. And they were laughing at him. Now, this story could make you frustrated, can make you angry, and it could make you, whatever. It can make you feel like, oh, the world's a terrible place. And for my father, he definitely had every right to say, you know what? I read these wrong. You know what? I think I heard God wrong. I think this is incorrect. These people are being mean. I don't even have a lot of money. How am I going to get a job? I don't even speak English. I'm going back. But instead, he said, no, this is where I'm supposed to be. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn English. And I'm going to learn English. That way this never happens to me again. And what he did, I mean, my dad has gone on to, go to seminary school. Then he went, I don't know his full story just because I wasn't born when he came in that sense. But, when I was alive, I saw him still being in school, still going to get different degrees. I mean, he got a real estate license. This is all while being a pastor. He got a real estate license. And now he got a teaching license. Now he's a teacher and he helps other, kids who don't speak English, who have trouble speaking. He helps them to learn English, all while still being a pastor. And so I look at him and I look at even my mom, who went through her own struggles and her own things where she had to take a leap of faith and say, I'm going, and not even a leap, a step. It's a step sometimes of faith, of being able to get to where she's at now. And it just blows my mind because I'm not that person. And it's weird because my family, I see my parents, they did that. They didn't come from a family like that. Their parents weren't that way. And it's the same like Walt Disney. When we read about Walt Disney's history, Walt Disney's parents weren't like that. Walt Disney's dad and mom weren't saying, be a dreamer, conquer the world. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. Like, they never told Walt that. But Walt, in his own mind, said, this is going to happen. I want this to happen. I don't care what anybody says. I believe I can make this work. I believe there's something here. I know that if I keep working and pushing toward it, I can be successful at it. And I'm not going to quit. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how much money I lose. I don't care how much bankruptcy I face. I don't care how many cars I got to put on and sell out, because I believe in my dream and I know this is going to happen. And that's the hard part, right? When the things get real and you realize the struggle you're going to face, that's the hard part. So what's even harder is when you're going through all that and then you get these noises, right? You get these people coming at you saying, you should just quit. Why do you even try? It's a terrible idea. That's me doing voices. And you say, yeah, I think you guys are right. And all of a sudden, when the setback comes and when the struggle comes and when things get real, which potentially could actually end up leading you to success, you let those voices fill your brain up with doubt. And all of a sudden, it's easier for you to say, you know what? This isn't for me. I don't think I can do this. I'm fine here. I'm comfortable. I don't think I need to try to do that. And you know what angers me so much about that? Maybe you weren't going to change the world. Maybe they're right. Maybe what you were going to do was going to lead to you being broken or whatever, it is. Maybe they're right in saying that what you thought of was stupid. And it's just a waste of money and time. And all you're going to do is hurt yourself and your family. Maybe they were right. But maybe they were wrong. Maybe they were wrong, and maybe if you would have really chased after that goal you had and really went after it to pursue it and make it happen and make it a reality, maybe your life would have been better. Maybe the life of your friends and family would have been better. Maybe financially you would have been more secure. Maybe you would have been more healthy. Maybe your mindset would be changed to where now you're telling your kids and your friends and family that you can make it. You can make a difference. Don't quit. And all of a sudden, your niece, your nephew, your kid, they believe in what you're saying. And guess what? They go to college to become a doctor. And all of a sudden, they go from a doctor to becoming a scientist. They start looking into different things. All of a sudden, they found this weird little solution to a problem we've had. And they're now curing cancer. They're now curing big diseases. They're now finding ways to healthy, very good, can't even speak right, to healthful ways of healing different diseases. Maybe they're coming out with solutions and they're able to help people understand, what it is to manage money better. Maybe they're coming out with different ways to minister and they become a missionary. They're able to save hundreds of people around the world. What if they're the next Billy Graham? What if they're the next Michael Jordan? What if they're the next Walt Disney? What if they're the next, you don't know. You don't know the impact that you can have. And it might not be directly from you. It could be a third generation. but it would be directly from you, because had you not made that termination goal of saying, I'm going to make this happen, had they not seen you not quit and not give up on your goals, had they not heard about how their great aunt, or great uncle struggled so much in life, and they decided they were going to quit and follow their passion and their dream, and all of a sudden they were able to find success, had they not heard of you making a difference in your life to really pursue and achieve what it is you are passionate about, if they had not heard that you had said, you know what, I'm going to stop taking advantage this way. I'm going to really live life the way it's supposed to be lived. And I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to pursue what makes me a better person. Had they not heard of you doing that, who knows what would have been? Who knows what could happen? Roy Disney was Walt's Jiminy Cricket. He always would, not to say be negative, but he would always bring in the buts. I wouldn't even say he was Jiminy Cricket, because Jiminy Cricket wasn't really necessarily butt all the time, but he would always bring in the buts. He would tell Walt, that's too much money. But how are you going to do this? But how do you expect to do this if this is like this? But how do you... And I know, Walt loved Roy and trusted Roy because Roy was second in command. Roy, and eventually Roy became, just like Walt, where he became a dreamer and said, this is how we're going to do this. We're going to build, and we're going to continue building Disney World. He could have stopped trying to build Disney World when Walt died. He could have stopped trying to create a whole Magic Kingdom there. He could have and said, you know what, the dream is dead. Walt died, dream is dead. But he didn't. He pursued, because Walt impacted him in such a way that little by little, the change of the mindset of it can't happen. But Walt, this is negative. This is wrong. But Walt, this is, we don't have enough money for this. But Walt, the bank is telling us no. But Walt, to saying, you know what? Yeah, there's plenty of buts out there. But then there's the one that Walt would always use, which is, but make it happen. But maybe it'll work. But we got to try it anyway. But we're going to meet that deadline. But we're going to do this. But it doesn't matter what's happening. But it doesn't work. And all of a sudden you get this, like I said, impact and a whole different chain reaction happening, where now we see a guy who started off just handing out newspapers when he was a little kid, who went through bankruptcy one time, who got, backstabbed and got his, money-making character taken away, to seeing, loss of his parents, to seeing, him not being able to have, children, of losing babies, to seeing, until eventually being able to have a baby, to seeing him even struggle with his own personal health of smoking. We see all of these things that he went through, but then we see how much success he had because he continued to pursue it. And regardless of that success, of finances and everything else, the success he had in changing the world. As much as you might not like the Walt Disney Company now because they're a business and blah, 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 I totally get it. You can't argue the fact that you have to respect what Walt Disney, with who he was. I mean, because he literally was proof that it could be. He was literally proof that it could happen. He was literally proof that if you really did believe, and you really did work, and you really did trust, and you really did have faith, things would work. Things would happen. So when you hear the noise, when you hear the people saying or thinking, or you're reading it on Facebook or whatever, and people are reaching out to you to get out of, they're taking time out of their day to be negative toward you about this goal that you might have. It's important for you to drown it out. Listen to this podcast. Find a friend, a family, loved one, reach out to me who's going to give you that positive reinforcement. Read about Walt Disney or somebody else that you like who's successful in maybe the field that you're trying to do, or maybe not even the field you're trying to do, but who's successful, and read the struggles they went through and understand that, you know what, maybe you're going through the same thing, or maybe they went through something even harder, but you know what, you can go through with it because they did. Like, don't listen to that noise. Don't let your mind get filled with that noise. Fill your mind up with opposites. They're telling you can't do it because it's not possible. Go start reading stories about other people where they said it was not possible. Go start reading stories about Benjamin Franklin. Go start reading stories about Disney. Start reading stories about, pretty much so many different people who have been successful throughout all of the years of history here with America and everything. And you can find that they struggled and they had a bunch of naysayers too. But because they didn't listen to those naysayers, they were able to achieve their goal. And it was actually able to happen. And fill your mind up with those things. Let those things take your time. So I hope that this show really speaks to you. I hope that it gets you motivated. I don't want to be, I'm not trying to just be a guy who's like, just a cheerleader. I do want to be your personal cheerleader. But I don't want to just be the guy on the sidelines, saying, go, you can do it. I'm really hoping that you're taking this so that way if you never hear me again, you at least remember these little snippets of me helping you understand the importance of, because like I said, it's not about losing weight. It's not about getting a better job. It's not about having a better relationship with your family. It's not about none of those things. It's about the impact that those things will have if you achieve it. Like I said, for me personally, I want to lose weight. Now, if I lose 60 pounds like I did before, or when I do lose 60 pounds like I did before, what's that going to do for me? It'll give me a little more confidence, but technically, listen, I know this sounds bad, but I'm married, I've been with my wife and I've known her, been married for 13 years now. We've been together for 16, 17 years. Like, she's been with me when I was at my biggest. It's fine. It's all good. My kids, they have to love me. They're my kids now. I told them, you better love me or spankings. Like, just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm comfortable. So what is losing weight going to do for me? Honestly, yeah, really nothing major. Like I said, it'll make me feel a little more confident. I'll be able to go to a shopping spree or something, like reward myself. But like, that's it. And being that I've lost weight before, I know it gets old. Eventually, your body even though it's, has lost all that weight, you're still going to find imperfections. You're still going to feel like you need to lose more weight. You're still going to feel like you should be having if you have a 6-pack, you should have an 8. If you have an 8, you should have a 10. If you have a 10, you should have a 19. If you have a 19-pack, you should need to see a doctor. But, but you know what I mean? Like, your mind will always keep telling you to be better. So I know those things now because I had lost all that weight. So losing weight really doesn't necessarily profit me anything. But the reason why I want to do it is because I know that 10 years from now, 12 years from now, maybe even next year, my wife, my kids, a friend, family, loved one, somebody is going to come and talk with me about a struggle that they're having, that they want to achieve something that that they've been passionate about, but they just can't get to it. And I'll be excited because I know I'll be able to say, you know what? I don't maybe personally know exactly how you feel, but I know what it's like to have a big obstacle in your way. And when I get to talk to them about losing weight and telling them how I lost, so much weight in this way and how much work it did and everything, I'm hoping that's going to motivate them to say, you know what? If he can do that, I can do this. And what excites me about that is if I can get them to say, if he can do that, I can do this, I'm excited for what they're going to do. Because you know what? When they achieve what they're going to do, guess what? When somebody comes to them and says, oh, I'm struggling with this. I'm having so much trouble. I can't get this. I'm passionate about doing this, but everything I try fails. And it's like I'm never going to achieve it. They say, you know what? I felt like you once. But look, I did all of this and I went through all of this. But look at where I'm at now. I did achieve it, and you can too. When that person hears their story, they say, you know what? If they could do that, I can do this. And you see what happens. You get a chain reaction. You get a chain reaction of positive, goal reinforcing, changing the world, excitement. And the good thing is, it's not like That's what's funny. You're not going to know this happens. I'm not going to know whether this really does change somebody, down the line. And I think that's for the better. Because I think if you knew how much people might, pay attention to you or might really be affected by you, probably change the way you act. And it maybe not the best way. But you don't know what it could do. And that's what excites me. That's why I want to achieve my goals. Because I want to be able to tell when somebody comes to me and says, I can never, achieve this dream. I can never do it. I can tell them, listen, I felt like you once too. I said I wanted to do this, and it just seemed like every time I tried, no matter how much money I put at it, no matter how much time, how much work, it just never was seeming to happen. But instead of giving up, I kept doing it. And all of a sudden, one day, literally out of the blue, I just got a break. And then this happened. And then this happened. And then this happened. And now I'm able to do what I love. I'm able to, I was able to accomplish my goal. I was able to, achieve the dream. And it's because I didn't give up and I just kept going at it. And that's what excites me, because that's what this is about. And so I really hope that this show, like I said, it just helps you in that way, that, if you don't remember any of the 40 minutes that I said in this whole episode, at least you remember those couple words, which is you want to change and you want to achieve and you want to pursue your personal dream, not just for your own success, but because it can potentially lead to the success of others. So, today's quote comes from the Quotable Walt Disney. It is in the show notes. You can check it out there. It helps the podcast if you buy the book using the affiliate link, so be sure to check it out there. But it says, we are not trying to entertain the critics. I'll take my chances with the public. So what Walt's saying was he wasn't, playing the fiddle for the people who, no matter what, were always going to find the negative, who are always going to say, that's okay, but here's the real problem with it all. And instead, he was going to say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do this for them, for the people. And they're going to be the ones to tell me. And what's funny is as much as critics panned Walt Disney films, said they were horrible, said they weren't that good, a lot of, films in the past that he did, I know we think of Pinocchio and stuff, we're like, oh, those were good movies. But he made a lot of movies, and a lot of them were panned by critics, but they were successful. And they're still successful even now, because we like watching them now. And you can still see them now. And so you can't go by what somebody who isn't in your position, somebody who isn't successful the way you're trying to be, by what their negativity says. You can't go by that, because they don't really know, right? I mean, they're not in that position. They don't know what you're trying to do. And that's why you go with the public. You go with the actual outcome. Like, if you're trying to get a better job, obviously the public is different. For you, the public would be your boss. Don't care about what your coworkers say. Don't care about what your, other people might tell you what you need to do to get a better job. Listen to what the boss says. The boss is the public. And if the boss tells you, what, if you want to get up higher in the position, this is what helps. If you're able to help us at least once a month on the weekend, those kind of things. So I'm not saying to go out of your way or make yourself, and your family suffer per se. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you're able to pay attention to who matters is what I'm trying to say. So if you're trying to start your own business, people around you are going to say that's terrible. But you know what? If you're a coffee maker and you're talking to tea drinkers, they're all going to say your coffee's terrible. So listen to the coffee drinkers and let them be the ones tell you this is good, this is bad. And then you change in that way. So that's important. That's what he's saying there. I don't listen to the critics. I listen to what the public says. I take my chances there. They're going to be the ones to tell me this was a good idea, this was not a good idea. And then I will structure myself based on that opinion from them, not the critics. And the proverb is, I'm reading it with my head twisted. That's why. That's why I might sound different. Don't let something you consider to be good be criticized as wrong. That comes from Romans 14:16. Again, you have a dream, you have a goal, you have a positive change that you want to do. And other people come tell you that's stupid, that's wrong. Why do you want to waste your time in that? It's just a waste of time. That's dumb. Stop doing that. Don't let that change your opinion of what you're trying to do. Again, losing weight. That's what we're going at. That's how we're in the year, since I always talk about it. I want to lose weight. And if I put on, let's say, social media and I say, I want to lose 60 pounds in a year, I'm going to get, because this happened before when I was trying to lose weight, I'm going to get people saying, that's not a good idea. Your body needs to properly adjust, and you shouldn't be doing this, and you may need to make sure to eat this, and you shouldn't. And listen, unless you're like a legit doctor, and you're my doctor, who knows all of my medical history, and who knows all of my family medical history, and who knows all about my blood, who knows all about my heart rate and everything like that, why on earth would I take what you're saying as 100% truth? That doesn't make, I mean, even going to Weight Watchers, stuff, they tell you like, ask your doctor, because what they're basically saying is, look, we're promising you all this, but in the end, if your doctor says this is not a good idea, you better listen to him. I had a ton of people tell me what I was doing was wrong, but I just kept at it. And all of a sudden, after a year's time, I lost 60 pounds. And I didn't do it unhealthy. I wasn't, only drinking water with a little bit of lemon for all of my meals. I just was losing weight my way, which was different than, quote unquote, the norm. And so that's the thing. I'm not saying to take risks in that sense of your health and, drink water. And I know that's popular, water, lemon, and I think it's like a little bit of maple syrup and cayenne pepper. Like, I'm not saying to do that for a year. Like, your body does need chicken or some type of protein. It does need vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is you get people who come out all of a sudden as experts who tell you what you're doing is wrong, even though they don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about what you're trying to achieve. So you have a goal. It's a good goal. You have a dream. It's a good dream. Don't let anyone put in your head that it's wrong and that it's negative and that it's something you shouldn't try to do. So I don't know. I want to keep talking. I love doing this, but I think it's time. Our time is up. And I hope you guys have had a wonderful 2017. And I hope that you are looking forward to 2018. And, we're going to do a new episode in the new year, talking about, new year and goals and stuff like that. But it's easy to look at the negatives of 2017. It's easy to say, man, I can't wait for this year to be over. Man, I can't wait for this year to be done because so many negative things happened to me. But I would encourage you and challenge you to think of the positive of 2017. Think about the good things that happened. Think about the good things that you were able to achieve and accomplish. And let that be your motivation for 2018. Because if you look at the negatives for 2017, you're going to say, I hope 2018 is different. And I can almost guarantee it won't be for you. Why? Because you like to look at the negatives. You like to focus on the negatives. And you're focusing on the negatives now. But if you look at the positives of 2017 and you say, man, you know what? I remember that was tough, but look what happened the next day, and look what happened this time, and look at this, man, 2017 was awesome. I did this for the first time. I was able to actually do, a podcast, or I was able to actually do a YouTube video. I was so shy. It's hilarious, but I did one video. Like, think of the positive parts. And all of a sudden, you're looking into 2018 saying like, oh, man, I did all that in 2017. I cannot wait to see what I'm going to do in 2018. So I want to just bless you guys, 2017, being over. I hope you had a wonderful year. I hope you're excited for the new year. And I really hope you guys just have an awesome, awesome rest of your day. And Happy New Year's. If you're listening to this on Sunday at 12:31, or no, 12:31 being January 1st. At 12, wait, no, that's not right either. 12 is January 1st. I'm sorry. At 11:59 p.m. And it's a minute till. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful New Year's with your family and loved ones. Have a great night, day, weekend, whenever you're listening to this. And as always, stay magical.
This was the Talk About the Magic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for listening. And as always, stay magical.